Sup guys, I'm Kel, Red Zone Rogue, and welcome to another Force of Will strategy video. This time we're going to be doing our very first, recap video, or update video, I guess you can call it, for a strategy video in the past. This time we're going to be revisiting Wanderer Elves, because with the new Raya Cluster Ancient Knight set, there's a lot of new elves, a lot of new really good elves that are really good for this Wanderer deck. And, you know, we're going to be sticking with good old Feethsing. She's an excellent ruler. This is not really a turbo-style deck. I mean, it's kind of turbo-style, but we're not running Gwyber or anything. This is a 100% elf deck, which I think is really cool. So, yeah, without further ado, let's go over the deck. Yeah. So the ruler is, of course, Fiethsing, 6 Sage of Wind. She's a ruler. Elf, 6 Sages. She has a Judgment of 3 of any and 2 Wind. That's not super uncommon to actually use that, because her J-Ruler side is pretty good for this deck. She's an Energize of 1, and whenever you play your second card each turn, put a 100/100 Elf token onto the field, and that card, or that ability, is just super sick. We want to use all those Elf tokens. Those are actually really important to this deck, and why this card is better than Favor for this particular strategy. Her J-Ruler side is very similar. She's an 800/800. Other Elves you control gain +400/+400, which is really cool. That whole, team pumping ability is really good. And whenever you play your second card this turn, put 2 100/100 Wind Elf Resonator tokens onto the field, and, you know, make sure you got yourself plenty of these tokens. You know, I have a bunch of them right here. I probably need more than this, but you're going to need them all, because there's going to be a lot of token generating in this deck. And let's get on to the deck. So let's kick it off with the Magic Stone base. So I run a Feethsing, the Holy Windstone, and a Little Red, the Pierce Stone. They're both special magic stones. True magic stones, which means you can only have one of each on the field at a time, which is why I only play one of each. They're both really good for monocolor decks, specifically a wind colored deck or a green monocolor deck. This one lets you choose the color when it comes into play. You can rest it to produce one of the will of the chosen color, and then you can rest it to give a resonator that shares a color +200/+200 until end of turn. So yeah, you just choose wind, and then you can rest it to make a wind, and rest it to pump a wind dude. Pretty good. This one just rests it to make a wind, or you can pay a wind and rest it to give target J-Resonator the ability to it says, target J-Resonator cannot be targeted by normal spells your opponent controls until end of turn. So, yeah, just makes it so your opponent can't target it with spells, which is really good. It can save your dudes from a lot of stuff, just fantastic cards, easy includes for any, wind deck in Wanderer. And here we have the start to a lot of the changes in this version of the deck. So I run a full playset of Spirit Stones. So this is a special magic stone. You can treat it as a wind magic stone. You can rest it to produce a wind, and you can banish it to draw a card. That is super sweet. So yeah, it's just basically a magic stone that lets you banish to draw a card. I use a lot of special magic stones. In fact, all 10 of the special stones, or all 10 of the stones in this deck, are special magic stones, which is not so good against Split Heaven and Earth, but it's really good against basically any other strategy. So, you know, you gotta kind of take it with a grain of salt. It makes Split Heaven and Earth really good against this deck. So yeah, maybe if your opponent's running a burn deck, you might want to run something else. But yeah, let's go over the next 4 special magic stones, and they are the Saintly Elven Stone. So once again, treat this card as a wind magic stone. You can rest it to produce a wind, and you can rest it to give target elf +100/+100 until end of turn. Once again, really cool card. Just use it to pump your dudes up for your, whatever you need, to save a guy, to, finish a guy off, to do a little bit more extra damage, or anything like that. This card's really good. And if you are running against a lot of Split Heaven and Earths, you can always swap these all out for just, your regular wind magic stones. But if you're not, then these cards are obvious upgrades to that. Alright, so now let's talk about the main deck. So yeah, I run a full playset of Sacred Elf and a full playset of Elvish Priest. I almost forgot what this guy was called. Yeah, Sacred Elf, Elvish Priest, basically the same card. They cost both 1 wind. You can rest to produce a will, rest to produce a will, both green will. This one is a 200/300, and this one is a 100/400. So a little bit more toughness on this guy, a little bit more damage on this. Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer just to run both of them. You need all the will production you can, because, Wanderer is a fast format, and this deck is actually pretty fast. So yeah, these cards are, you basically want to mulligan so you have at least one of these in your opening hand. Along a similar vein, I run a full playset of the Sorceress of Heavenly Wind, Melfee. She's a 300/600 with Quick Cast, and it says when this card enters the field, prevent all damage that would be dealt by target J-Resonator this turn if you played 2 or more cards this turn, and you can rest her to produce 1 will of any attribute. So yeah, pretty sweet. It's quick cast, so you can surprise blocks, or just at the end of turn just, you know, surprise dude, more extra will production. Like, yeah, really, really sweet. Like, yeah, Melfee is a fantastic card, kind of like a no-brainer include as well. Next up, I ran a full playset of another Melfee. Melfee, the Successor of Sacred Wind. She's a 400/400 for 1 of any and 1 wind. She says, rest 2 recovered elves you control, produce 1 will of any attribute. That is super sweet. You can use this ability to rest elves that just came into play, so like tokens, for example. Yeah, so this is really good. I like this quite a bit. This is one of the linchpins of the deck. It lets you do huge turns where you can play spells and play cards and then create tokens and then rest those tokens to play more cards. Like, fantastic, fantastic card. Another one of the best cards in the deck is Christie, the Warden of Sanctuaries. She's a 400/400 for 2 wind. She says, other elves you control cannot be targeted by spells or abilities your opponents control, which is crazy. So if you have 2 of these on the field, then it protects both of your Christies, and none of your stuff can be targeted, which is really, really sweet. And then she also says, rest 5 recovered elves you control, and you're gonna have a lot of elves. Like, 5's not that hard to hit with all the tokens we're gonna be making. And then you gain 500 life and draw 2 cards. So this is like the best draw engine in the deck. There's one other card that lets us draw stuff, but yeah, this card is absolutely fantastic, absolutely bonkers. One of the best cards in the set, which is funny because it's from Millennia of Ages, one of the worst sets I've ever done. But yeah, really, really good. Actually, the last card we talked about was also from Millennia of Ages. They had some pretty good elf stuff. Alright, now let's get to some more token generation. So this is a new card for the deck. This is the Spirit Caller Elf. She's a 100/100 for 1, and when it enters the field, put a 100/100 elf. And that doesn't seem great, you just get like 2 100/100s, but the more elves we have, the better the deck's gonna get, because we're gonna go wide, and then we're gonna pump all of our dudes and make them huge. Like, that's the whole purpose of this deck, and cards like this are fantastic for that. The more tokens, the better. So yeah, this was an obvious include in the deck, and I think it's a really good one. Along a similar vein, we have another new card, the Commander of the Crowd. She's a 700/700 for 3 wind. When this enters the field, you get 2 wind or 100/100 wind elf resonator tokens, which is pretty sweet. And whenever this attacks, other elves you control get +100/+100 until end of turn. So yeah, once again, another really, really sweet card for this deck. It's like 3 cards in 1. You play it, you get 2 more tokens, and you get the ability to pump all your dudes when it attacks. Fantastic card. I need to get some more full arts of this. Like, yeah, great inclusion in the deck. Next up, we have the Torrent Elf, 500/600 for 1 of any and 1 win. When this card enters your field, if you play 2 or more cards this turn, draw a card. Yeah, just a really cool card that lets you draw another card. Fantastic in this deck. Yeah, not much else to say. And it has a pretty good body. 500/600 is not too bad. And the last of the Resonators for this deck is Fina, the Silver Player. She's a 400/400 for 2 wind and 1 of any. That's not super great. However, she gives all other elves you control +400/+400. That is really, really sweet. She has another ability that involves Christie, the Wind Tracker, as a J ruler. We don't care about that. We just want to pump our whole team. And this is a really good way to do that. And we can generate a lot of will in this deck, so 3 isn't that much of a cost. Yeah, pretty easy include in the deck. Makes your 100/100s, 500/500s, and bigger if you have multiple. So yeah. And then finally, the last card in the deck is Farer's Command, and then I have a 1 of Sprint of the Beast Lady that I'm going to swap out for a Farer's Command once I get another one. So Farer's Command is a 7-drop, 4 of any, and 3 wind, but don't really pay attention to that much, because it says recover all Resonators you control, and then Resonators you control gain 1,000, 1,000, and pierce until end of turn. So yeah, you can rest all of your elves using either Melfee or just Sacred Elf or Elvish Priest, generate a whole bunch of will, and then play this. You recover all of them. They all get +1,000, +1,000, +1,000, and pierce, and then you just smash for the win. This card is crazy. This card is absolutely bonkers. Huge top end for this deck, and 7 is not a lot. You just need a couple elves that can produce will, and yeah, this card is absolutely fantastic. Sprint of the Beast Lady is pretty good. It just gives all your dudes +600/+600 for 3, but I think Farer's Command is a far superior card, especially with the Pierce. So yeah, one of the biggest gains for this deck from the Ancient Knight set. And there you guys have it. That was my updated version of my Wanderer Elves deck. I hope you enjoyed it. Next up, we have some more Force of Will strategy videos. I'm not sure if I did Pandora before this. If I did, then I'll be probably doing something else coming up next. But in any case, I hope you guys liked the video. Maybe leave a like, comment, and or subscribe. Every little bit helps, and I appreciate it oh so very much. Regardless of what you do, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Have a good one all, and I will see you later.